Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Friday evening Zoom seminar. I'm super happy today to be invited again. Actually, we did this very similar seminar in Chinese a month ago. And ever since then, we got a lot of overwhelming response from the parents, and they want to hear it again. And thanks for Vicky who invited me. And I love HS2 parents. So it's a great honor to be back. My name is Lou. If you don't know me, I'm a certified college financial specialist, and I do family financial planning. But college financial planning is probably one of my favorite. And I'm very proud to say that I am a college financial aid analyst and a consultant. I do this with passion. And I have two sons who graduated from university already. They both went to private universities. So I totally can feel the pain of parents paying for college because I was the one did the same thing. So today it's gonna be a very much filled with information seminar. It's a lot of content. I will try my best to cover, and I might end up talking very fast, so bear with me. And you don't have to take too much notes, but I trust that HS2 will upload this to the YouTube channel so you can watch it again. And I know that some parents like to watch it again and again, just trying to get everything correct. So let's get started. It's 7:01. We will try to keep the session for within an hour. So we will try to finish it at 8 p.m. I might have a few minutes left for Q&A towards the end of it, but it's not a guarantee because I do have a lot of content to cover. So if I don't get your question, don't worry, and you will have the opportunity to ask me. Okay, thank you. So the topic is college financial aid. Applying for college financial aid is actually two different forms, the most important part. The first form, it's called the Free Application for Federal Student Aid, which is FAFSA. Now, keep in mind, this is a federal government application form. And it's also coming from the Department of Education. So every school, regardless what kind of school you're applying, and it's required that you fill out this form if you ask for financial aid. So whether it's a community college or Ivy League school, every US college and the universities require this FAFSA form. The second form, it's called the CSS profile, which is a college scholarship service profile. Now this form is for College Board, which is an institutional, like it's from the colleges. They want to just know more about your family financial situation. So they put together a very comprehensive application form. You will be asked so many questions about your family financial status and the situation. So this form is not the focus today. We are not going to talk too much about that form because there is not many changes. Our focus today is talk about FAFSA form because there is so much happened in the past year. And by going over what happened to the past year and revisit the timeline, I hope it will help you to position yourself this year and to understand the important dates, throughout the timeline. So FAFSA is the focus today. That's the number one thing. 2024 and 2025, which is last year, it was a disaster because first time ever, they made a major changes to FAFSA form. And I'm going to go over this really quickly, so bear with me. It's very tiny. I'm not going to read it, and I'm going to just point out some key dates. Now, keep in mind, the FAFSA application normally opens on October 1st. That's the date the FAFSA form is opened. You can go in and fill out the forms. But last year, the FAFSA form was not available until December 30th. So every parents were waiting December 30th last year. On December 30th, I went in too because I have many clients. The form was not available. It wasn't even available. It was on and off, and you sign in, they said it's not available, or you cannot even sign in. They said it's not available. So December 30th, the deadline, the time that they promised never really delivered. In January 2024, I'm sorry, it should be January 2024. This is a very, very important day. In the prior years, the January 30 date is normally the FAFSA transmission day. So on that day, all the FAFSA forms the students filled out will be transmitted to the school financial aid office. So this is the date that the school will receive the FAFSA form. Guess what happened? We can barely finish the application online because the form was not stable. They were full of the bugs, and there is certain areas people cannot complete, or they complete, it's showing incomplete. So on January 30th, 2024, and the FAFSA actually notified the school, you are not going to receive the FAFSA transmission until the first half month of March. What is March? March is a very important timeline because March is the time period that your students start receiving financial aid award. This is the time the school starts sending out the acceptance letter. Along with the acceptance letter, you're supposed to have financial aid award package. But guess what? This didn't happen because the school, they were still waiting for the FAFSA. They never received it. So this delay has caused overall, everybody was screaming, everybody was angry, frustrated. So the government, I mean, even in the Congress, they talked about this issue, but nobody seemed to have a solution. So all the senior parents last year had the most horrifying period. It's just one disaster after another. So May 1st is another important day. On this day, you're supposed to decide what is your final school pick. But guess what? No, you can't, because you only have the school acceptance letter, but you don't have the school financial aid offer. In most schools, this is the case, but for some private universities, they were able to give estimated financial aid award package, which is a good sign because the CSS profile charmed in and helped many parents and helped many schools. And so for parents that, for instance, California students that aiming for UC schools, and this was the most horrifying period because they didn't know what they get. It's a zero visibility. So last year is not done yet. We still have students fighting with the financial aid office and fighting with the final financial aid award package. And it seems like it's not ending 100% yet. When I was preparing for this presentation, I was very excited because in June, the Department of Education and the FAFSA announced this year, everything went back to normal, and you are going to have the form ready on October 1st. Only yesterday, August 8th, and we got another shocking news. So parents, senior parents, be ready. It's another year. Might not be as bad as last year, but it's definitely not a smooth sailing. So the U.S. Department of Education announced in the press release that the 2025 and the 2026 FAFSA will open for limited set of students and institutions on October 1st. And then the department will make the application available to all students on or before December 1st, 2024. What does that mean? So parents, be very careful when you go in. The form seems like ready, right? October 1st. But do you want to be the one that's the guinea pig? Like, it's not sure, but you just jump in and they say, test me. I want you to test my application form. I won't recommend that. So my recommendation here for the senior parents is probably hold it. Because if the form is only open to limited students and institutions, you might not want to choose to be the one. And you might want to wait until the form is more stable, because from last year's experience, it's not a pleasant experience, okay? So this is the timeline, and keep in mind the October 1st, now December 1st, and then also keep yourself on the loop, like kind of pay attention to the news about FAFSA, about financial aid, because they do have a lot of coverage on the news media. What's the lesson learned? And I felt like before I start my, the knowledge sharing and the help parents, and I just want to say the lesson learned last year. Ways to maximizing your financial aid opportunity really is not a simple task for many parents, because many parents, this is your first year, right? And I mean, you've never done this before, and you're not that experienced. So last year's FAFSA madness, the statistic has already come out a few days ago, resulted increased loan borrowers. This is from the student loan company that they put out the analysis together. So what does that mean? Many parents kind of give up after they have facing the difficulties of filling out all the forms. They just tell themselves, probably this is too complicated for me. I'm just going to take the loan instead, because that's an easy way to go, right? If I don't get financial aid, I don't have the means to pay for it. I'm just going to get money, get loan, borrow from somebody. But this is not a good way to do it. So the lesson learned is like, don't go that route, right? Kind of get yourself more familiar with learning the financial aid system, and not have any knowledge about it. You want to kind of know what is the financial aid system. What does that mean? How do they make the decision? Is it the right decision for my family? So it's going to benefit you in many ways, not just the financial aid. It's going to benefit you, your family's financial well-being. Now, I also need to point out here, I know that many parents are HS2 parents. Congratulations, you're in very, very good hands. I love to work with HS2 Academy simply because the private counseling have really, really built an edge for maximizing the financial aid opportunity. Why? Because you're increasing your chance to be accepted by more colleges. Only when you get accepted by more colleges, you will have more choices of financial aid, right? So be sure to talk to the counselor and select schools. And I'm sure, I mean, it's always very pleasant to work with the parents of HS2 Academy, because they just kind of seems like have everything together and very well organized. And I love that. So be sure to get accepted, because if you don't get accepted, you won't get financial aid. Simple as that. So we're going to start talking about the financial aid system now. The expected family contribution, EFC, is now SAI. So remember SAI, it's probably the most important thing if you need to remember about FAFSA is your SAI, which is your Student Aid Index. So what is the Student Aid Index? It's the index number that used by financial aid professionals, which is the school financial aid officers, when they're creating a financial aid award package. So your SAI is calculated using the information you provide in the FAFSA form. So the SAI is an indication of how much your family can afford to pay for the student for the first year. So the calculation is very, very simple. COA is the cost of attending, the total cost. So school, their job is to find out how much your family need help. Do you need a lot of help? Do you don't need help? Or you need just a little bit help? And that number is well calculated by the formulas. And that formula has a lot of different elements to it. It's not a simple formula, and it has a lot of things involved with your family's financial and your family's number of people, the age of the parents, the income, the different source of income. All these will impact. But in general, the calculation is based on the SAI. So if you have your student aid index number low, what does that mean? You need more help. If you have your SAI number high, it means you probably need less help or don't need any help. So SAI number is the key to financial aid, to college financial aid. I'm going to pause here for a little bit, and I'm going to talk about financial aid, 4 different types of financial aid. When we talk about financial aid, people oftentimes just think about grant, and they're like, that's probably just financial aid. Actually, no. The financial aid consists of 4 elements, 4 types. The first one is scholarship. We actually see a lot of the need-based scholarship from like mostly private school. And the grant, and we're going to touch a little bit later, the federal grant, the state grant, the institute grant. So the scholarship and the grant are the gift money. And it's the best form of financial aid, because when you receive scholarship or grant, it means you do not have to pay them back. And this is a free money, which is the best. But loan is also part of financial aid. Loan means you have to pay back. Not only you have to pay back, you have to pay back with the interest. It's like any loan, correct? And the 4th one is the work study. And this one is a little bit different. It's not in your financial aid. It's not included. You cannot offset that with the billing. And this is if you work in the campus, the school will pay you probably minimum wage, mostly minimum wage. And then you can use the money. The money will go to your student's account. And then you can use the money to pay your expenses. So keep in mind, the financial aid is scholarship, grant, loan, and a work study. 4. I've seen so many different financial aid award package. I've seen one student receive maybe 4 school different financial aid award packages. All 4 schools provide different combination. Maybe scholarship with work study, maybe grant with loan, maybe all 4 of them. So it's very different. It's a combination sometimes. Sometimes it's just one. So that's another thing I'm going to cover a little bit later on to help you to understand. I'm happy to share with you, this is first time, the FAFSA report has changed to call FAFSA submission summary. And this is a very good report. When you complete your FAFSA form, you will be able to download this FAFSA submission summary. And it very clearly indicates what kind of federal support you can get. Now, in this federal application form, you're not going to see anything else. You're just going to see the estimated federal grant, which is called Pell Grant. And for this particular student, the Pell Grant amount is $1,935. And he or she is also has some offer of federal direct loans, $9,500. Federal work study may be eligible, so it's not a for sure thing. And the most important thing is at the bottom of the first page, you're going to see your student aid index, 5462. This is the most critical number that you need to keep in mind, because this is the number most schools will use to put the financial aid package together for you. Some parents are very precise with this number, because I think I told them that number, and they're like, oh, actually after the financial aid, my out of pocket is more than 5462. It's 65 something. It's not going to be so precise. This is just probably the average, you kind of have this in mind. Okay, this is about the money that I have to prepare. It's going to come out of my pocket for the first year. So that's an important student aid index number. Okay. So let's talk about what has changed last year. Keep in mind, this change will remain this year. It's not going to change back. Parents, I'm so sorry to say it stays, okay, this year. They're not talking about changing anymore. So whatever happened last year, all the changes will roll over to this year. So what's the key change? EFC is now SAI. We already talked about that. The sibling discount is a very, very important thing if you have more than 2 children and they just happen to be all in school. In the prior years, FAFSA will give you a discount. Let's say if your EFC is 10,000, you have 2 students. One is a freshman, the other one is a junior. They're 2 years apart, right? So instead of 50,000 EFC, you will get a discount of 25,000. No, 50,000. So you will get 25,000 and 25,000 for each kid. But last year they removed that. So you no longer get the discount. If you were to go to public school and your SAI is 50,000, then each student is 50,000. So you will end up paying more in a way because they are not taking that into consideration. But the good news is in the CSS profile, this is still considered. So if you're going to go to the private school will look this and give you some allowance, give you some discount. So keep that in mind. Business and the farm assets. Oh my God, this is such a huge upset for the Chinese community and for the Asian community. Because the business and the farm assets in the prior FAFSA, if you employ less than 100 people, you do not have to report any asset. So we've seen a lot of families put their investment homes, put their, what do you call those, business asset or under the business entity. And they end up don't have to report it as a FAFSA asset. But starting last year, everything has to be reported. So that's a bad news for a lot of families, right? Because now with the family business and asset, you might not qualify for financial aid. But I want to point out, CSS profile for private schools, you always have that built in the formula. So there is not much significant changes just for the public school. The good thing with the new FAFSA is the college list. Before, we can only put total 10 schools in the FAFSA form, but now you can upload 20 universities and the schools, which is such a big break. Most of our students probably apply 15, 18 schools, and this will just be done like a one submission. You don't have to make a correction like prior years we had to do. Before I talk to divorced parents, I have to take a break. Hold on. Now, the new rules for divorced parents, this is so hard to understand for many families if you're, if the parents are divorced. So the contributor, get familiar with the word contributor, that's the parent, right? In the old form, the parent that the student live with will be the one that submit the FAFSA form. But in the new form, the contributor is the one who provide the most financial support, not necessarily the one that they live with. So this becomes quite complicated. And I felt like this is a gray area. It's very difficult. A lot of parents are like question about that. And if you happen to be divorced parents, and you might want to consult with me, not here, because it's very complicated. I'm just going to put it here. It's changed. It's quite a change. The following questions most parents ask me, and I feel like if I answer those questions, it's pretty much give you a clear picture of what to expect on college financial aid. So the most question I get, especially from HS2 Academy parents, because they're so, together, they don't want to give up the ED and the EA opportunities, right? Because that is increase the acceptance rate if you apply for ED and EA. So the first question is, will financial aid impact acceptance of ED and EA? I get this a lot. ED and EA are the dream school of your student. And most parents feel even if they have to borrow the money or withdraw their retirement account or refinance their house. They want to make sure the student get to go to their dream school. So the question is always like, Lou, if it's going to impact their acceptance rate, then I'm not going to do it, right? So I want to share two good news with you all. This year, my first two financial aid award package came from two ED students. One is from Johns Hopkins, and the other one is from NYU. And they came on December 14th, 2023, which is purely based on the CSS profile because the FAFSA we never submitted yet, December 14th. So we submitted the CSS profile for ED in November. November 15, most ED deadline is November 15. So we submitted this. And I was so excited. My first one was Johns Hopkins. I mean, like just joy, you know, joy from the parents, the student, and me too. I'm just super happy that this student gets such an awesome financial aid award package. So the cost of Johns Hopkins last year was $89,424. Take a look at the student get. Total grant and the scholarship for the 2024 and 2025. Johns Hopkins Scholarship Institutional, $78,429. And the federal grant, which is called a Pell Grant, maximum $7,395. Estimated other federal grant is $900. So the total the student get is $86,000 and $724. What does that mean? I mean, if financial aid is going to impact this acceptance, then the student won't be able to accept it because she's getting so much money, right? Like that just answer, it doesn't matter. It just really doesn't matter. So the end result is the student is going to get back from school $1,648 because the financial aid is exceeded what's going to be built. And she can use this money to pay for the other additional costs. So the end of the net cost for this family, sending the student to Johns Hopkins, will only need to pay $2,700 in total. That's including the tuition, the room, the board, and then the books, everything. Isn't that a wonderful thing? Like, can you imagine if you didn't apply and you're not receiving this? I just don't know. The second one is a very memorable one because the mother, I remember, after the consultation, still keep asking me, are you sure? Are you sure? At the end, I have to tell her, you must apply. Because if you don't apply, how are you going to pay for this $90,000 tuition? So she finally listened to me, and but not 100% sure, right? Like she was very nervous. She still calls me, oh my God, I'm so nervous. When she received this, she sent it to me in WeChat. And she sent it to me and not knowing what's going on. She said, what does that mean, Lou? If you look at this financial aid offer, also arrive on the 14th, right? The total cost of attendance, COA, is $93,184 for going to NYU. It's an ED. And the financial aid award package include Pell Grant, once again, which is a federal grant, and the New York state grant with their New York residents. So they get state grant. And then the scholarship from NYU, liberal study department. So this scholarship actually is a need-based scholarship coming from the college that she's going to. So at the end of the day, the parents only need to pay $8,239. And she couldn't believe it. I think she cried. She just very stunned, like she couldn't believe it. She said, I am so glad I listened to you. I didn't listen to my neighbor. So, will financial aid really impact acceptance of ED and EA? I would say no, but if you still insist, then every family is very different. I need to talk to you. I mean, maybe your financial situation is a little bit different, right? The other question I often get asked is, Lou, tell me which school will give more money, which school give more than, other school. I really definitely want to, apply for the school that offers more financial aid. So the rule of thumbs are, if you are applying to public university, please apply in-state public school, not out-of-state public school. What does that mean? Very simple example. If you're a California student, we have the best public school UC system, right? Cal State system. You apply UC. Don't go apply University of Michigan, University of Washington. They are the out-of-state public school. Let's say that your UC schools can offer you a free, full financial aid award. But if you go to out of state, you are probably only going to get the federal grant, nothing else, because you're not going to qualify to get the state grant. And you will not, I repeat, you will not get any institutional grant or scholarship. Many years ago, when I first started this business, I used to help my students to trying to appeal with the out-of-state public school. I would call the financial aid office and I would explain this family really need the money because they don't have money. And the financial aid officer will be very nice to say, we understand. We are so sorry we cannot give you more. We recommend you take your state university instead of our university because we cannot help you. We just don't have a means to help you. So their majority of their, not majority, their most focus is to help their state resident, not out-of-state student financially. So keep that in mind, okay? Number one rule. Number two, if you're applying private universities, the liberal arts school will get less compared to general universities. Liberal arts school is smaller. Many schools are not need blind and they are need aware. And they do take financial aid into consideration. And they're very careful when it comes to reviewing your financial situation. And they are very, very limited to provide to more students with financial aid. If you are very underprivileged, like a low income, then yes, you will get financial aid. But the middle one, the middle class, it's very hard to get financial aid. So that is the rule of thumb. The last one is Ivy League school. The better school that you get accepted, the more money you're gonna get. Especially the top school in the US. They really don't mind you are applying for financial aid. They really will support you in any way because they want their student to go to the school without worrying financially. So keep that in mind. And the number one is the most important thing. I don't want a student apply all the schools is out-of-state public school because you are eliminate your possibilities, which is not very smart in a way, okay? The other question also a lot of parents ask is, private more expensive than the public college? I remember, I still have time, I tell you a very touching story that when I first doing this business, I actually met a parent in the parking lot of a supermarket. And she was sharing with me how good her son was like in academically and also leadership. And she told me that her son actually applied for the top UC schools and was accepted by all UC schools. And he was very happy to just go to the UC schools. And I was like, why didn't he apply for private school? And she said, because our financial is so not good and we cannot afford the private school. And I said, oh my God, if your financial is not strong, even more so you want to apply for private school because private school will give you the help just as much as the public school. You probably end up paying the same amount, right? And she started crying and she said, nobody told me that. And I didn't know. He's such a good student and he doesn't even know. He just want to help us to save money. So sometimes I'm always adding this slide to all the parents when it comes to private school and the public school. So I'm using this student as an example. This is my last year student and the client, and is a California student, and his family's FAFSA SAI is 5,800. So he happened to get accepted by both the best, no, not the best. He just happened to be accepted by both very popular California public school and the private school. So I'm going to show you guys the classic example of a Southern California student. It's like dream come true, right? USC and the UCLA. So if you look at the total cost, this is the actual financial aid award and the cost, okay? It's from just last year. So the student is going to college this September, next month. So the cost of attendance for USC is $95,675 last year. And UCLA is $42,059. If you look at the price tag, tell me, it is more expensive, right? USC is so expensive. It's $53,616 more expensive than UCLA. But wait, let's see the financial aid. So from USC, the student received the Pell Grant and also received the Cal Grant, which is the state grant. And he also received USC grant, which is $64,278. And the work study student loan. So the total financial aid he received was $84,031. So we take a look at the UCLA financial aid offer. Same Pell Grant, higher Cal Grant, because you do get higher Cal Grant if you attend public school. An additional UCLA grant and the student loan same, work study same, pretty much $32,311. So the financial aid package he got, $51,720 more than what he received from UCLA. So the net cost to this family, even though you look at the tuition, $70,000 versus $15,000, right? Even though, you know, the total cost is so much higher, this family's end net cost is $11,000 versus $10,000. It's literally just like a $1,896 difference. So if you're the parents, you tell me, is private school really that expensive? Not really, right? It's different, depending on your family financial situation. So I actually made a call to the student and asked what's the decision. Of course, they asked for our advice, right? Like a counselor's advice and a financial aid advice. And my advice is absolutely USC. Just because it's so expensive, you only pay $11,000. So he is going to USC and to be a children this September, right? Very happy. So this is a real financial aid offer that I seen this year. Just happened to be very classic, private versus public. Okay. Right. Take a look at time. I'm still good. Very quickly, and this is a UC Davis cost of attendance list. And I just want to point out that when you read the COA, it's very important to separate what's going to be billed versus not going to be billed. So what will be billed, it's always your tuition, your room and board, and your fees. What's not going to be billed, it's additional cost is your book and the supplies and your transportation and your personal expense. So it's important to understand that even though the COA is a total amount is almost 45,000, but then you're only going to be billed for 40,000. And when you read the financial aid offer, this is also UC Davis, very important that you separate the gift offer and the loan offer. So the gift offer is free money. The loan offer, you have to pay back. So that helps you when you get multiple offers. You kind of have a list. What's the gift offer? Compare them. What's the loan offer, right? Because if you get a lot of loans, it's really not a best financial aid because you have to pay back. So this is just the two things I really want to highlight. And when we talk about grant, we want to talk about Pell Grant, which is a federal grant. This year, 2024 and 25, the maximum that you can receive is $7,395 a year. And the Cal Grant, the maximum that you can get is $13,752. Now, do pay attention that each different category, your Cal Grant will be different. So like a USC is considered a private nonprofit university. So the maximum is 9,358, but UC is 13,752. Texas has their own grant. It's a lot less. New York, state of New York has their own state grant. And in addition to the federal, the state, and you also have the university grant. So Cal Grant, I'm going to go through this really quickly. I hope this year this is fixed, because last year was the first year I had to remind all my students to go into this Cal Grant website to check their eligibility. Prior years, we don't have to do that. It automatically flows in from FAFSA, and the data gets transmitted in, and everything is, perfect, right? Maybe one or two exception, but this year I make sure everybody go to the website, sign up, and check their eligibility, and make sure the money is there. If they qualify. So it's very important. This year, I don't know yet. Hopefully they get this fixed, then we don't have to worry about that. And Cal Grant, the income threshold is a little bit higher. If you look at it, if you're a family of 4, the income the maximum income is 131,000. So if anybody is less than that, you will get some sort of Cal Grant. And if you don't get the Cal Grant, your income is like a little bit higher than that, then you have a middle class. I think it's called, gosh, I forgot. It's middle class, like a scholarship. So there is a less grant, but kind of like help the middle class a little bit. And this is the asset ceilings. And these are all public informations that you can Google it, and then you can just make sure that, to pre-qualify yourself for Cal Grant if you have to. Okay. This is the fun part, because I really like to spend a little bit of time. I don't know how many parents here tonight is the coming senior parents, like 12th grade. Like that means after August, your student gonna be a senior. So if you're that category, you need to pay a lot of attention to my seminar, and you need to kind of do a lot of study. And I have a to-do list for you just to summarize everything. So the first important thing is finish your 2023 tax return. I know that the extension is until October, but please don't finish it so late. You need to finish it no later than September. August is probably your last year to get all the income tax in, because the IRS and the FAFSA is an auto link. If you cannot link your tax, then you cannot finish your FAFSA. Then you cannot get any financial aid. So it's important. If you have business, complete your business income tax as well. And it's the federal tax that you need to pay attention, not the state tax. So it's the 1040. What we are looking for, what the FAFSA and the CSS profile looking for, is line 11, called AGI, Adjusted Gross Income. So it's very important that you finish it and you go check your line 11. What is your AGI? The second thing that you need to really start doing is come up with the list of the FAFSA assets. If you don't know what is FAFSA asset, what is non-FAFSA asset, I had done many financial aid seminar with HS2 Academy. So go search the YouTube and you might find that, because the FAFSA asset and the non-FAFSA asset, you pretty much want to have a list and get the balance. What is the balance? Is there any way to shift around? And you still have time, right? College list, pay attention to the ED and the EA list, because most ED and the EA, the deadline for financial aid is November 15th. Some are November 1st as early. So you don't want to miss those deadlines. I do have students miss the deadline. It's miserable. Financial aid office, sometimes they're just not very forgiving. They are just like asking why are you not doing it within the time frame? So just have a habit, come up with a school list and kind of check each school, what's the deadline for admission and financial aid. Even though FAFSA is delayed, but you need to get ready. You need to be ready October 1st. You need to get ready. So that is the most important thing for all parents, because you don't want to wait until December. You want to be ready October 1st. That's the date. Everything has to be ready. You need to get your FAFSA ID and password, parent one, and the student one. All these preparation, you need to be ready. Seeking professional consultation and the services, because if you know that you are not able to get this done effectively, you need to ask for help. Just like anything else, right? My CPA asked me for financial aid advice. I ask her for tax advice. If you don't know, it's okay. Just get the consultation first and find out the service if it's suitable to you, okay? The to-do list for 7th grade to the 11th grade parents. Very, very important, the 11th grade parents. Your income will be based on the 2024 tax return. You only have 5 months left, right? Because it's already 2024. It's very important. 10th grade parents, very important. 2025 is your tax return as the income base. If you want to do any financial decisions, like selling your stocks or refinance your homes or anything that you wanted to do, you want to do it in 2024. So your 2025 is well, you know, it's in the best, right, order for the upcoming college financial aid year. I put down the 9th grade, 8th grade, and the 7th grade. And don't think it's, oh my God, it's way too early for us. We don't need to worry about that. No, I have consulted parents with newborn babies. I love to go to preschool and elementary school to do college financial planning. Parents love it because the earlier you plan, the better you have strategy. You have a way of paying for your college. You understand it's important. So don't think, oh, my son is only, my student is only 7th grade. We can wait for 4 years, then we're going to talk to Lou. No, you need to kind of jump in and just get some knowledge first about your family financial. Understand the FAFSA asset is so important. So the asset that you have might not be part of the FAFSA asset. So a lot of time I do a lot of the financial planning for families. And one of the biggest thing is the asset allocation, where your assets are. And that's important. So this is a good time to visit your asset to see if it's allocated, if it's diversified. Those are all important. Family financial planning, best way to pay for the college. Not everybody come to me for college financial aid consultation or parents with not so good financial situation. I mean, I have affluent families, parents make over $500,000 that come to me for consultation because they want to find the best way to save for their children to pay for college. They have the money, but they still wanted to do better. They don't want to make mistakes. So the family financial planning is important if you're 7th, 8th, 9th grade, or if you have multiple children, and I feel for you, it's so important. It's very expensive now, and it's only going to be more expensive. This is sad, but it's the truth. College is always going to be more expensive. And the last one, saving for college. My clients all know I emphasize this so much, and I always ask them, well, what do you think the money is going to come from if you don't save? So saving is very, very important, okay? And this is my last slide. I think the last one. No, I have one more. Yeah, let me see the time. Okay, I'm good. This one, I really want to get your attention because there are some facts. May I have your attention, please? And I hope, I can't see everybody, so I hope you have, I mean, you're not talking or on the phone. I really want your attention on this slide. Price tag for college education will soon reach $100,000 a year. It has already reached that. It has already reached that. It's going to be the norm for private university that costs $100,000 a year. The cost of private university is average about $90,000 a year. So you times 4 years, per student, it's $360,000. Cost of public university is about $180,000 per student, just bachelor degree. The COA average increase is about, based on the last 30 years, is about 8% year over year. So if your student has 4 years to go to college, 4 times 8 is 32%. You need to use the COA this year times 32%. And that's the cost going to be for your student. Okay. And I often get parents tell me, oh, Lou, I'm not worried about this. I'm just going to have my student just get the loan. They need to learn how to take care of their own money. I'm sorry, the student loan, maximum student loan any student can get the first year is only $5,500, not anymore. That's the maximum they can get. And that's called the direct, subsidized, and the unsubsidized loan. The interest rate this year means this year going to college, 6.53%. And it's a jump of 1% compared to the prior year. I put the unsubsidized loan for graduate school because parents, when your student go to graduate school, there is no financial aid in the form of grant or in the form of scholarship. Very rare. You might get scholarship merit-based. The only financial aid you're going to get for graduate school is loan. Okay, and that interest rate is 8.08%, is also 1% more compared to the prior year. Now, talk about Parent Plus loan. That rate has already reached the highest in 30 years, 9.08% versus 8.05%. I don't know how you feel about that. I'm strongly against to get that loan because that's going to put your retirement, that's going to put your next half of your life miserable because this loan interest rate is way too high. Okay, so pay a lot of attention. Those are the facts, and these facts are not going to change. Now, this is really my last slide. I've been working with HS2 Academy for a couple years now, and we love the partnership, and I love the parents and the students and always have very good relationship, and the partnership is very genuine. And I received the most respect and a lot of appreciation from the parents. So I love what I do. For the HS2 parents, I will continue to offer the 45 minutes complimentary Zoom consultations, but I'm only going to be doing this for the month of August and limited for September, because starting October, I'm not going to take any free consultations because I'm going to be focusing on the financial aid applications and helping the clients to provide the best services. So HS2 parents, you also receive very special discount for the financial aid service. And many of you might ask, what kind of financial aid service that you do, right? It's really from A to Z. It's like somebody holding your hands from the beginning to the end, you know, like I will give you the guidance and we will start from the evaluation and the consultation and analysis and the recommendation, and also come up with a strategy that in your favor to gain the financial aid to protect your family asset. Because anything that you pay for school is going to come from your asset. It's going to reduce your asset. So my job, being a well-rounded family financial planner, is having this edge to really able to assess your financial situation and to give you a very good strategy that it just not cover only college financial planning, probably cover your retirement and to cover your estate planning, like how do you pass on your wealth, right? And of course, the most important thing is probably assist you with the FAFSA and the CSS profile. And it's going to be 100% reviewed and the guidance and no error. And this is so important because sometimes we have families with very good potential of receiving a lot of financial aid, but because they make silly mistakes and they miss the opportunity, it's never good. And I will help parents to review, and many parents come to me with their financial aid award packages from multiple schools. And this is my happy time. I like to review them and to tell them the pros and cons, which financial aid award package is the best for their family. And the last but not least, if I see there is a room for getting more, I would definitely provide the guidance of appeals. And that way, the students can learn how to negotiate. And a lot of time I like to get the students involved if they like to learn. And I still keep good in touch with few students that they gained and they learned the knowledge and they appreciate. They said they learned so much from this whole financial aid application. So this is the service. And I think that concludes my presentation today, which is 5 minutes left. And I see there is only one question. I'm gonna answer that question. So the question is, does FAFSA count parent income wages, including the 401k per tax deduction? In the FAFSA form, it does not ask specifically about your 401k, but it's auto-link. So if it's part of your tax return, and then whoever the reviewer is, the professional, financial aid professionals, they're gonna review that. It's a good question, but I'm not 100% clear what do you mean by that. For CSS profile, when you do the private universities financial aid applications, yes, you need to, they will ask you what is your retirement and how much funding that you have, but it doesn't mean the retirement is count as your asset or income, because retirement has a very clear goal. It's for your retirement. Everybody knows the retirement income, the retirement funds, the minimum withdrawal age is 60 years old. So if you are not 60 yet, nobody should expect you to take money out of your retirement account. Be very, very clear about that. Your retirement account is safe. It's for retirement purpose. And don't feel bad you have a lot of money in retirement account, because you're doing a good job and they will not hold this against you. For class of 20, is it too late to adjust asset list, reduce asset? Depend on where your assets are. If your assets are in investment homes, it's impossible to adjust because it's way too late, right? But if your assets are in cash flow or in investment portfolios, we can talk about it, because you still have 2 months, August, September, October, 3-4 months. It's still possibilities. Every family is very different. You really want to also wait in. If you do this, what are you gonna get? If you don't do this, what you're not gonna get? It's kind of important, right? Yeah. I don't think we have any questions, and I'm sure this will be, hold on, do I have more questions? No. So I'm sure this will be uploaded and will be on the YouTube. This parent, if you wanted to just offline, you can book with me for a free consultation and we can talk about that. Okay, and it's 7:57 and I think we're good. Thank you so much. I want to say thank you again, and I hope you all the success in the upcoming college application time, and then also hopefully to get some knowledge from today's presentation. Thank you for your heart. Thanks.